Morning. It's Tuesday. I wanted to at least go and let y'all know that today at 12 o'clock Eastern on the IAEI's YouTube channel, you got to go over and check that out. We're going to talk about one of those articles in the NEC that many of us just pass right up. And I would ask, if you're familiar with the NEC, if you're a design engineer, contractor, electrician, whomever, when was the last time you read Article 90? Article 90 to the NEC is very important, especially for design engineers. And I'll give you the why. Boy, look at this hard drive. Look at that. That thing. Seen better days, don't you think? It's got all dents up. It's all dented. Anyway, I call Article 90 the installation instructions. And what do we do with installation instructions? We go dumpster diving when we realize we needed them. Design engineers, if you're into design, or if you're into laying out the power distribution system for structures, a good read of Article 90 is very important, because I think erroneously, mistakenly, we jump to the code. You can hear me through both headphone speakers again. Yes, you know what? Steve Froming, I figured it out. I'm going to finish my thought. Many people, when they're designing a power distribution system, they go to the code first. And Article 90 has some important information to tell you that tells you why you should not do that. So, Steve, here's what I did. So I'm using my Rode microphone. I bought a lavalier. I love lavalier. I got my lavalier right here, okay? And the reason I'm using the lavalier for a couple of different reasons. One, I like the sound of the lavalier better. I love the sound of the Rode microphone. So this is my remote, okay, my Rode Wireless Go-To. I use these whenever I travel, and one of the things I recognized was I like the audio better when I'm on the road than I do when I'm right here. And I have these two microphones going through a Mackie FX. I have an SM57 and an SM58. But here's the problem with both of those microphones. I mean, they're good microphones, but they got to be close to your mouth to really get the sound quality. And I don't like a microphone sitting in front of me. I know a lot of podcasters and people have that microphone sitting right here, and I mean, they've got nice looking microphones. They've got them on the booms and all that good stuff. I don't want anything in front of me because I talk with my hands. You know, I'd be hitting the microphone, and things would be flying. So, in any case, so I went to this, and I couldn't figure out how and why it was only on one side, depending upon the unit. And I read the instructions for this thing. I did all that jazz, but in the OBS software, when you look at auxiliary microphone, when I go to advanced audio properties, there is a checkbox under mono, and it was not checked. And I thought, in my mind, I'm thinking, well, if I check this, then it's going to only use it as a mono, meaning one microphone. But what that means is your input mono or stereo? And my input's mono because I've only got one. If I uncheck this right now, Steve, you're probably listening to me in one ear. But when I check it, it takes you to both ears. So it takes a mono input and turns it into stereo. and the setting was not in my MacBook Pro. It wasn't on the Rode base set, which is the receiver. It wasn't on the Rode transmitter. I even opened the Rode software because there is an ability of this microphone that if I have two people, I can record them both as two separate tracks coming into the system. And I can keep them both separate so that I could increase and I could decrease the volume from one or the other. Say I have a low talker and I can't put the microphone in his mouth or her mouth, so I put it here, and if I want to raise the volume, if I keep them separate, I can increase the volume on that microphone, decrease the volume on my microphone, so we can keep them both level, right? That feature has nothing to do with what OBS is using to merge them and make one mono stereo. So I learned a little bit, and I learned that this morning early. I woke up early this morning, and I came down here and said, you know what, I'm going to try to address this stereo system. But in any case, I fixed it. So thank you for recognizing. I really appreciate it, buddy. Well, we have, so I had to record my session. I've got a meeting that starts in 9 minutes. I have a NEMA Codes and Standards meeting, and we have a full agenda. I don't know how long it's going to go. It's definitely going to go past 12 o'clock. And sometimes because we start at 10, they'll push lunch off till like 1 o'clock or something like that. So I can't rely on lunch break being at 12 o'clock. So I thought I would record the session today on Article 90. I do ask one question. It's open-ended that I'm hoping people use the chat for. But hopefully people get something out of the discussion today around Article 90. I am passionate about Article 90, especially when I talk to designers, because unfortunately, the first place many people go to is the code book to say, what is it that I'm required to do? And that's what they follow. So I tried to make the point in the discussion today that we need to understand our customer wants and needs better. So I focused a little bit on that discussion. To meet your customer's wants and needs first, and then make sure you did not violate the NEC. And in my opinion, Steve, Master J, in my opinion, the person who designs the system to meet customer wants and needs is probably going to have a different talent set. I'm not sure the right way to say it. That individual who designs the power distribution system to meet the customer wants and needs is going to have a different expertise than the individual who's going to review those drawings and that design to make sure they didn't violate the National Electrical Code. Many designers and installers out there, designers especially, will run to the NEC and say, what is it that I need to do? And they use the NEC like a design guide, and it's not intended to do that. So I cover some of the sections in Article 90 that help us understand that fact. So I hope that today's IAEI News Live helps in that regard, because I firmly believe that in some cases, we lose sight of the customer wants and needs. In some cases. The fact that my house has a garage, it's not required by the building code. The fact that my house has a basement, not required by the building code. That's addressing customer wants and needs, but that's addressing the saleability of the house, because the industry knows that adding a basement and putting a garage is going to help sell this house. Why? Because customers want that. So I tried to go through Article 90. I didn't get through many sections in Article 90 because the dialogue, I tried to provide some insight. At least my perspective, Steve. That's my thoughts. So hopefully people get something out of this one. But it was I don't know. I struggle with in looking at. I talk to design engineers, and I tell you, I'm probably guilty of it myself. And it's something that we all have to, I think, police within ourselves to say, look, I have to focus on what are my customer wants and needs. What do they need? What do they want? How is my design going to meet those wants and needs? For example, Steve, you're on panel 13. If I'm in a residential dwelling unit, I don't need an Article 702 system. It's optional, right? Yet we have requirements. I'm not mandated to put a generator on this house. Do I wish I had one? Maybe. There was at least once in the past 10 years that I wish I had a generator at this house, but I don't. My previous house, I did. Had a whole house backup generator system, and it was automatic transfer switching. And my electrician tried to talk me out of it. Said, you don't need that. You have good power out here. I'm out in the country. I had well water and I had septic. I wanted a backup generator. It doesn't matter what the code mandates when it comes to things like that. But yet we have to follow the National Electrical Code, and we lose sight of the fact that when I add a garage and I put a basement in, and I add a swimming pool, I put a generator, I put energy storage systems, I'm not required by the codes and standards to do that. But you better follow the codes and standards to make sure you don't violate the requirements when you do that. So, any case, so it was an interesting discussion. So it's an interesting topic. I can't say a discussion because I'm just sitting here talking like I am now. So Steve, thanks for tuning in. I put the link down below. It's 12 o'clock Eastern today. Again, I'll probably be in a meeting and not able to attend. But please chat it up. And if there are questions, remember you can go back on my YouTube channel, on IEI's YouTube channel, anybody who's got YouTube content. You can watch those videos at a later date. Most of my videos get more views as time goes on. You know what it's like, Steve? It's like a fine wine. Those videos just get better with time. But I'll tell you what, when I go back in time and I look at some of my older videos, ooh, man, I don't like to watch myself, period. But when you look at some of those older ones, I can remember I was over there. I had a table I made out of a piece of plywood. I had my laptop, and I had the camera on my laptop, which was my company laptop, which didn't have a very good camera. I was using WebEx, I think, at the time, and I had my slide decks. But you know what? We got our point across because of two things. Audio was good. That's the key. And you know what, man, I tell you what, I went to the IEI section meeting, Western section meeting, and they had this thing advertising the IEI News Live stuff, and they had a picture of me, which I sent. It was like a last minute, hey, we need your photo. And I sent my standard photo. Oh my gosh. When I look at my hair was dark, my beard, my goatee was not silver. I'm getting old, Steve. We're all getting old. The alternative is probably not better. Anyway. All right. Thanks, everybody. I'm Steve. I'm going to run. I appreciate you dialing in. I've got to get on a call. Take care. Stay safe. And please stay healthy. Take care.